Okay, in this video, it's gonna be kind of ghetto. You know, gotta use what I got. The message is what's important. Okay, but you got your wildfire. You got your wildfire. Okay, now this is gum. Okay, but it's the wildfire. Okay, where the wildfire starts. Okay. Then you see how the wildfire starts. You guys have the surveillance of these kinds of things. Okay, so you see where it starts. Okay. And it's not about what you guys do. I just want to talk about, what you could do instead. Yeah. Okay. It's not to put me down, whatever. It's just, you could do what I'm going to talk about. Okay. So, here's where the wildfire starts. Okay. Then what you can do is you can understand by how the wildfire expands, okay, moves out, what its growth rate is in terms of how the fire is, growing. Okay, we're just going to use a hypothetical example. The wildfire is expanding at 1 kilometer an hour. Yeah, 1 kilometer an hour. Okay, so every hour the wildfire gets another kilometer bigger. Okay, and then obviously maybe there's a town close by. Okay, there's another town close by. Okay, whatever. And then you tell the people in this town that are pretty close by, you're gonna have to evacuate. I mean, just the way it is. Okay, because the wildfire is gonna be there in about 6 hours. Okay, so you evacuate. Yeah. And then you see another town over here, and they're like 40 kilometers away. Those people evacuated. Now they're in this town. How do you now protect this town? Yeah. So it expands at an average rate of 1 kilometer every hour. And this one, let's say, is 50 kilometers away. So in 50 hours, just over 2 days, this town's going to burn down. Okay? And we're not even going to talk about what you guys do. I'm just going to talk about what you could do. Okay? Now, again, I'm just using what I have. Okay? So, we all know what a tank is. Okay? This is a tank. Yeah, it's just a rock, but now it's a tank. Use your imagination. Okay? This is a drill. Drill. Just use your imagination. Okay? So, instead, okay, of, the tank that shoots missiles, boo, boo, boo. No. Now it's a drill tank. It's a drill tank. Okay? And the thing about tanks, okay, is, they're slow moving. Slow moving, but they're good at moving on, things that aren't exactly rock solid. Okay? So then what you have is you understand, okay, this is 50 kilometers an hour away. It's going to take 50 hours approximately for this fire to reach this town. The other town is evacuated, okay? And if it takes us, a certain amount of time to set certain things up, okay, you got to know how long it takes you to set these things up. Okay, because obviously you're not going to have all these kind of machines ready to go right beside where a fire starts all the time. Okay. Now another thing that I saw, because when my baseball team went down to Fort McMurray, okay, they had a machine, and that machine would lift up 175 tons of dirt in one scoop. One scoop. Okay. Now we've talked about the drill tank. We talked about the machine that can do 175 tons in one scoop. You actually start with the machine that can pick up 175 tons of dirt in one scoop. Okay. Now what you've done is it picks up that dirt, the 175 tons, and it's digging a hole for the drill tank to go into. Okay. Now what you're doing is okay, in about 40 hours, it's going to be 40 kilometer kind of circle, right? And town's 50 kilometers away. And when you got these machines and stuff, okay, you also realize it's going to take us 25 hours to get these machines to the location. Okay? So what you then do is you realize you can put one drill tank, okay, and do the entire circle, right? That would be drilling a circle around where the fire would be. That would take a long time. So you got 4 drill tanks. You got 4 drill tanks. And so you place them, 44 kilometers away from where the wildfires started. Okay. And at the, let's just say hour 25, you've got them set up 44 kilometers away. Okay. So that's 19 kilometers away from where the wildfire is. Okay. And then it's going to get to you in 19 hours. Okay. Then you got your machine that picks up and digs the hole, because you got to have the hole to place the drill tanks inside of. Yeah. Maybe you've got the drill tanks that can do that themselves, They could just kind of, it doesn't sound very efficient. Yeah. You're probably better off just digging the hole first and then placing the drill tank inside. And if you got a circle, yeah, just using what I got, and then we're just going to use something smaller, okay? I'm going to attack, okay? If you have a drill tank here, and then you have another drill tank here at 90 degrees, and another drill tank here, 90 degrees over, and another drill tank here, 90 degrees over, then you have a drill tank at 0 degrees of the circle, 90 degrees of the circle, 180 degrees of the circle, and 270 degrees of the circle. Okay, because when you understand that it takes that drill tank, okay, to do that circumference of that circle, and it takes 5 hours to get from 0 degrees to 90 degrees, when you've got those 4 drill tanks, it only takes 5 hours to make that circle pit. Yeah. Now, what's the other thing that is designed into these drill tanks? Okay, well, who's seeing a snowblower? What does the snowblower do when the guy is moving the snowblower? Okay, yeah, but he's moving the snowblower, right? Okay, and what happens that comes out of the snowblower? It shoots out the snow, yeah, onto, the grass instead of the sidewalk. Okay, so when the drill tank has got what the snowblower has, okay, it keeps shooting out that dirt that's being drilled, because inside of that drill, you've also kind of got like a vacuum or something like the snowblower that is, drilling the dirt, but also shooting it into the interior on the other side of the circle pit where the fire would be, which is like a dirt wall. Okay, and the thing is try it for yourself. Throw some water onto a fire. Okay, what happens when the water's on the stove? Turns into steam. Okay, and when the fire is pretty hot and you pour water onto it, you kind of hear the sound of a snake. Yeah, you do, because the water is evaporating. Okay. So water is not necessarily the best means to put out a fire, but dirt. Take a shovel, pick up some dirt, okay? Put that dirt, that shovel of dirt on top of your campfire. What do you hear? It suffocates the fire. And it doesn't just evaporate like water does. No. Try it for yourself. Yeah. Okay, so then it takes you 5 hours, okay? So now let's just say you're at hour 30, okay? You got there at hour 25, you set up, okay? So it was 1 kilometer, circumference kind of when it started. Now it's, let's just say it's 25 kilometers now, okay? And you started your circle pit at 40 kilometers. There's still some easy math, okay? But it takes you 5 hours to make the circle pit, okay? So now you've made the circle pit, okay? You made the little, wall of dirt on the interior of the circumference of where your circle pit is, okay, where the fire would come, okay, and now you've got a dirt wall, okay, and now, okay, if you're at hour 30 and it's 30 kilometers, it's 10 kilometers away from your dirt wall and your circle pit, okay. Then what you do, okay, is you got the same machine that was picking up the dirt, okay, because lots of dirt around, yeah. And if that machine can pick up 175 tons of dirt, okay, it can place that dirt into A catapult. Catapult. We all know what a catapult is. They had them way back in the day. Okay. And then what happens is when you've got a catapult that's loaded up with dirt, okay, and you've got these set up maybe every 15 degrees or even 10 degrees, so you've got like 36 of them. You probably don't need that many. That's, it's not the worst idea, okay? So maybe, let's say you've got 36 of them. Every 10 degrees around the circle, you've got these catapults that are being loaded up with these, big scoops of dirt, okay? Takes you another 5 hours to set that up. Okay? Now the wildfire is 5 kilometers away because it's hour 35. Okay? And you see it, but you're all ready to go. Okay? Then as the fire starts coming in, these catapults only, shoot that dirt 1 kilometer max. They never do more than that. Okay? But you're prepped. You're ready to go. Okay? So you see the fire coming, okay? Now it's, around 1 kilometer away. I would start shooting when it's about, 1.1 kilometer away. Yeah, because you want to get that dirt going now, okay? So then you're catapulting the dirt, right? And the dirt is landing down, okay? And it's suffocating the fire. Yep. Okay, and then the nice thing is nobody's gonna die. Those people evacuated that town. Might put it down, but you gotta do your best. The other town is saying, "Oh, cool, we saw those the drill sergeants and the drill tanks and the circle pit and the wall of dirt, and we saw the loading up these catapults with dirt. And we saw them throw it on the fire. It just suffocated the fire, you see. And the thing is dirt is kind of cheap, isn't it? As opposed to, water that's very heavy. Yeah. You try throwing, the same amount of water that would be dirt, you'll know what's heavier. Yeah. Even another thing, right? Just pick up a dirt bag, and then pick up that bag that's full of water now. Ask yourself, what's easier to carry? The dirt. Yeah, the dirt. Because it's a solid as opposed to a liquid. Yeah, that's also why it's easier. Okay, and not only that, water's more expensive. Sure, there's lots of water. Yeah, there is. But there's lots of dirt. Yeah. Is it cheap? It's free. It's everywhere. Yeah. Okay, so you take the dirt. Okay, you got your circle pit. You started with, you dug the holes for the drill tanks. The drill tanks, did the circle pit, and then you take the drill tanks back out. Okay, they had the snow blowing little thing, so they were shooting the dirt back out onto the interior of where the circle pit would be. That would be the dirt wall. Okay, the dirt wall. And why are you doing the catapults for the extra measure? Because those flames could, climb over that dirt wall, could climb over that circle pit. They could. And another thing you could do is, you could certainly just make sure that on the outside of that perimeter of that circle pit that, you cut down those trees. Yeah, and then maybe, you made sure that you did a lot more than just mowed the lawn outside there. And you made sure, if there's a wheat field that, sorry, that's pretty flammable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you just make sure there's no flammables, because whatever would be climbing over the dirt wall and climbing over the circle pit, when you made sure it wasn't something that was flammable, kite bumps off. Yeah. But if you didn't want to cut down those trees, you didn't want to cut the grass, and you had the catapults that, are just, just suffocating that fire as it comes. Yeah. It's not going to be jumping over that wall. It's not going to be jumping over that circle pit. Okay. That's how I would, kind of stop the wildfire in its tracks. Yeah, because would you want to go into where a wildfire is and start cutting down trees, breathing in all that shit, and maybe it happens, people die. We know that people die. They die, and they also have a lot of health problems afterwards. Pretty shitty job. Okay? And then all of a sudden, Drill Sergeant Luke comes in, you got the guys in the drill tanks. They say, yes, sir! Because they're not dying. They're not dying. Yeah, safety first, okay? And this is safe. It'll be safe. And you guys already have all this technology. Yeah, we all know what a drill is. We all know what the snowblower does. Yeah, we all know how you could have a serrated drill with a vacuum that would be bringing in, these little tiny bits and pieces of dirt and then shooting it out, right? Like a snowblower. You guys already have all these technologies. Obviously, you have the technology with the thing in Fort McMurray to pick up 175 tons of dirt. And, we had catapults a long time ago. It's not that hard. Yeah, so there you go. That's how I would do it. Because, I don't want you guys to die. And I've seen the ways that you guys are doing it. And, what do you think? Can we do it better?